Close your eyes, just for a moment, and imagine. Imagine what it feels like to live as the millionaire version of you. Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. Feel the reality of it in your chest. Hear the silence of worry. Breathe in the ease of abundance. Feel the warmth of freedom in your fingertips. You are not waiting for anything to arrive. It has already arrived. The door to your wealth is not somewhere out there. It opens from within. Today that switch flips. Today your millionaire mindset switches on. There is no outer reality without the inner agreement. The world you see, the people you meet, the opportunities you attract, they are all expressions of the inner conversation you've been having with yourself in silence. If you've been speaking limitation, you've seen limitation. If you've been thinking lack, you've lived lack. But today you change the script. Today you choose new words. You choose the identity of a millionaire. You claim it not because you see it with your eyes, but because you feel it in your being. What you feel yourself to be, you become. And you feel it now. Your circumstances don't matter when your consciousness is set. The outside is never the cause. It's the mirror. And a mirror never reflects before you move. So you must move inside. You must walk in your mind as the one who already is what they desire to be. The moment you do this, not tomorrow, not when evidence shows up, but now you activate the switch. The switch that turns scarcity into abundance, confusion into clarity, wishing into knowing. Today that switch is turned on. The feeling of being a millionaire is not a fantasy. It's a frequency. And frequencies are not earned. They are tuned into. Right now, you are tuning into a new reality. You are letting go of the old stories, the inherited beliefs, the noise of the world. You are saying, this is who I am now. Not because someone gave you permission, but because you realized you were always the only one who could. Your power is in the assumption. You assume the state of wealth, and it becomes your law. You assume the identity of affluence, and it becomes your reflection. What you accept as true inwardly must express outwardly. You don't need to hustle for your worth. You don't need to prove you're good enough. You don't even need to figure out how. Your only job is to know who you are and feel it real. The rest takes care of itself. You are not a beggar in the universe. You are the author of your experience. So write wealth, speak wealth, think as one who already has it. Be done with the waiting. Be done with the hoping. Now is the only time that has power. Now is the only moment that creates. And in this moment, your millionaire mindset switches on. Think back to all the times you thought you needed more time, more help, more chances. And yet all along, you only needed to see yourself differently. You needed to close the gap between desire and identity. And that's what you're doing now. You're aligning your vision with your belief. You are seeing the end and calling it done. And because you feel it done, it must become flesh. The law cannot fail. If you are it, you will see it. If you dwell in it, you will live it. You are not becoming a millionaire. You are remembering that you already are. Walk into rooms differently from now on. Walk in as the one who has arrived. Don't wait for the world to tell you you're successful. Don't wait for the number in your account to validate your vision. You validate your vision with your inner knowing. What you claim within must be honored by the world. That is the secret. That is the power that has always been yours. The moment you dare to persist in the assumption that you are wealthy, everything begins to rearrange itself to support that truth. Doors open where you once saw walls. People show up who feel like destiny. Ideas drop into your mind, like they've been waiting for you to believe. All of this flows not from force, but from faith in your inner world. Feel the shift right now. Let the old self fall away. Let the struggling version of you dissolve. That version was a shadow, not the truth. The truth is what you feel yourself to be right now. The truth is what you dare to assume, even in the absence of proof. Your power is not in reacting to appearances. Your power is in remaining loyal to your vision, no matter what the world shows you. The world is a canvas, not a command. You paint it with the brushstrokes of your imagination. You color it with your belief. And now you are painting a masterpiece of wealth. The old version of you thought wealth was distant, that it belonged to others, that it required more struggle, more time, more sacrifice. But now you see differently. Now you know wealth is not about getting, it's about allowing. You allow it by becoming the one who already has. You walk in the state of the wish fulfilled. You live in the end, and in that end, all things are drawn to you without strain. You are magnetic because you are faithful to your vision. You are powerful because you are no longer looking outward for confirmation. You have found the source, and the source is you. You are not waiting for wealth to come. Wealth is waiting for you to see it already within you, to accept that what you claim within must be reflected without. And the claim is made in silence, in the theater of the mind, in the private space of feeling. There in that sacred place, you make the switch. You turn it on. You walk around in your mind as the wealthy one. You wear the suit of abundance. You speak with the voice of confidence. You move with the ease of freedom. You are no longer trying. You are being. It may look the same on the outside for a while, but don't be fooled. The seed is already planted. The harvest is guaranteed. What matters now is your persistence, your faith, your refusal to doubt. This is not about wishful thinking. This is not about blind hope. This is about knowing that the inner world precedes the outer, knowing that the moment you assume something is true, it begins to materialize. You are the cause, not the effect. And now you are causing a new reality to be born. You have stepped into the frequency of wealth, and that frequency changes everything. It changes what you attract. It changes how you feel. It changes your posture, your tone, your confidence. It changes your life, because it changes you. Do not underestimate this moment. Do not treat it as ordinary. This is the moment your millionaire mindset switches on, and once on it cannot be turned off. You will see wealth where you once saw lack. You will see opportunity where you once saw limits. Because your vision has changed. Keep dwelling in the state. Keep returning to the end. Do not entertain thoughts of doubt. Do not replay old memories of failure. Those are dead timelines. They have no place in your new reality. You are the one who chooses the scene. So choose the scene of success. Choose the outcome you desire. Choose the world that celebrates your greatness. This is not about arrogance. It's about alignment. You are aligning with the truth of who you are, and who you are is wealthy. Now, you've spent enough time in the shadows, enough time doubting your power, enough time asking if it's possible. The answer is not out there, it's within. If you can feel it real, it is done. If you can persist in that feeling, the world must conform. The timeline you live on is dictated by your assumption. You are now living on the millionaire timeline. Every moment you stay in that state, you build the bridge to your future. Every second you dwell in the end, you close the gap. Every time you speak, as if it is already yours, you bring it closer. You are the miracle. You are the shift. You are the source of all transformation. And it begins with a decision to believe, a decision to walk by faith and not by sight. A decision to claim what's already yours in the invisible realm. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign. You don't need to be chosen. You only need to choose. Choose to think differently. Choose to feel the reality of wealth. Choose to stop chasing and start receiving. The switch is on. The change is here. Your mind is now fertile soil, and the seed of wealth has been planted. The moment you accepted the idea of yourself as wealthy, as free, as limitless, the soil received the seed with open arms. You may not see the tree yet. You may not smell the fruit, but the process is set in motion. And in this process, there is no delay, no denial, only unfolding. The riches you seek are already on their way, rushing to meet the version of you that finally said yes. Yes to the truth. Yes to the unseen. Yes to the knowing that what you imagine must find its reflection in the world of form. Your past has no power here. You've exited that timeline. You're not bound by what was. You're not a slave to yesterday's failures. The millionaire version of you doesn't reference the past to decide what's possible. The millionaire you only sees through the lens of now. And in the now you are free. Free to believe something greater. Free to embody a higher idea of yourself. Free to step into the full authority of your imagination. And from this freedom comes a life unlike anything you've lived before. Speak to yourself as if the world already knows your name. Walk as if the money you used to dream about is already in your hands. Act as if the doors you once begged to be opened are now held for you as you pass. This isn't pretending. This is becoming. When you assume a new state, the world has no choice but to mirror it. It cannot resist your inner world. It only responds to it. And now that your inner world is saturated with wealth, the outer world will echo that truth. You are no longer the person who waits. You are the person who declares, the one who walks ahead in faith, the one who dares to feel the end is already done. And this feeling becomes your compass. It becomes the power that turns the invisible into the visible. The world may offer distractions, appearances, delays, but you are undisturbed. You know how this works now. You've seen behind the curtain. You know that the moment you feel something to be true, it must take shape. You hold to the feeling, and the feeling holds your future. Every cell in your body is now aligned with prosperity. Every breath you take is filled with ease. You are not afraid of money. You do not chase money. You do not plead for wealth. You stand in your rightful place as one who creates, as one who manifests by being, not doing, as one who allows by assuming, not by effort. You are the cause. The world is the result. The inner man moves first, and as you move in imagination, so moves your reality. From this moment forward, you don't look to others to determine your fate. You don't wait for an economy, a government, or a miracle outside yourself. The miracle is within. It always was. It is not about deserving. It is about deciding. And you have decided. You have flipped the switch. You have made the claim. Now everything must bend to your state. Not because you force it, but because you are faithful to it. The world cannot help but yield to the one who knows who they are. Let your desires no longer feel distant. Let them feel like memories. Let them feel like scenes you've already lived. See yourself there. Stay there. Don't check to see if it's happening. Know it is. Don't ask if it's coming. Assume it has already arrived. And the moment you do, you bring it into being. Your assumptions are the womb of creation. What you consistently feel to be true must be born in time and space. There is no other way. And so you hold the feeling. You wear it like your skin. You wake up in it. You sleep in it. You let nothing shake it. You don't need to see the money to know it's yours. You don't need to see the opportunity to know it's already aligned. You don't need proof to rest in certainty. Your feeling is the proof. Your faith is the evidence. The world is catching up to what you've already accepted as fact in your soul. You are now the one who sees abundance everywhere, not because circumstances changed, but because your mind did. And that change of mind is the only change that matters. From it, all else flows. You are the root. Your life is the fruit. You tend the inner garden, and the outer begins to blossom. You are not waiting on time, or chance, or luck. You are walking in the spirit of completion. And from that spirit, wealth flows effortlessly. There is no begging in this state, no striving, no needing to prove yourself to anyone. You are not in competition. You are in creation. The millionaire version of you doesn't push. It magnetizes. It draws all things to itself by the law of assumption. And this law does not fail. When you assume a new identity, everything connected to that identity is summoned. It is not summoned by your hands. It is summoned by your consciousness. So remain in that consciousness. Speak as though you are already there. Walk as though you've already received it. Not to trick the universe, but to align with your truth. You are not lying to yourself. You are waking up to the reality that everything is inside you, that you are the operant power, that nothing comes from outside. And now that you've turned on the switch, there is no going back. The light is on. The vision is clear. The feeling is firm. And the world must bend. Everything around you is reorganizing. Even now, unseen forces are aligning to match the new you. People you haven't met are on their way. Money you haven't seen is already being released. Doors you didn't know existed are swinging open. And all of this is not because you begged for it, but because you became the one who receives it. The millionaire mindset is not arrogance. It is awareness. It is the awareness that your world is your reflection. And now that the inner has changed, the outer must follow. You are not reacting anymore. You are initiating. You are not waiting. You are commanding by the power of belief. There is no fear where faith lives. There is no scarcity where vision resides. You've stepped out of doubt. You've stepped out of lack. You've stepped into a reality so rich, so vast, so abundant, that it overwhelms every trace of your former self. And this new version of you does not look back. It does not question. It does not waver. It walks with certainty, because it knows the end is already secured. The silence of the inner world is where creation begins. It is in this silence that you see the mansion already built, the account already full, the freedom already lived. And from that inner movie, you move differently. You speak with power. You make decisions with clarity. You say yes to what aligns and no to what doesn't. You no longer compromise your worth. You no longer shrink. You rise, you expand. You live boldly. This is the millionaire mindset, and it is yours now, not next week, not next year. Now, because you chose to feel it. And feeling is the secret. The world obeys the one who feels the truth more than they see the facts. You are that one now. You are no longer impressed by appearances. You are impressed by vision. You are governed by imagination. You are led by faith. And that faith has flipped the switch that can never be turned off. Your only task now is to remain. Remain in the state. Remain in the knowing. Remain in the assumption. Don't peek to see if it's working. Declare that it already has. Don't wonder when it will show up. Live as if it already has. Time becomes irrelevant when faith is present. Because when you are loyal to the end will find its way to you in the most natural, effortless, and miraculous ways. You are now thinking, feeling, speaking, and acting as the millionaire version of yourself. Every choice, every breath, every step is in alignment with this reality. There is no other version of you now. There is no other outcome. There is no other truth. This is your new normal. This is your new standard. This is your new identity. And identity creates destiny. So you hold the image steady in your mind's eye. You do not allow it to flicker, to waver, to dim. You tend to it like a sacred flame, never letting the winds of doubt blow it out. You do not wait for the outer world to give you permission to believe. You believe first. You walk into the scene you've constructed within. You claim the wealth, the freedom, the power, not with loud proclamations but with quiet certainty. Because the true shift does not come with noise. It comes with knowing. And you now know. There's a stillness that comes when the switch has been flipped. A quiet confidence. You no longer chase. You no longer need to convince others or even yourself. You simply are. You are the one who already lives in the fulfilled dream. You are the one who wakes up knowing that money is no longer a question. It is no longer something you strive for. It is something that flows to you because you have removed every internal block that once held it back. The only thing ever standing in the way was the version of you that believed in limitation. That version no longer lives here. You are now responding to life as a master of your reality. You move with intention. You speak from conviction. You sit in stillness not because you lack direction, but because you understand that the direction comes from within. There is no fear in this place, only flow, only the unfolding of what already is. And as you continue to persist in this state, your external life reshapes itself without resistance. It is not magic, though it may appear that way to others. It is law. It is the natural result of aligning your inner state with your desired end. And each day you return to this feeling. You build a stronger bridge between your imagination and your manifestation. You walk that bridge not with hurried steps, but with the grace of one who knows there is no rush. Because when the seed is planted, the harvest is inevitable. When the decision is made, the result is unavoidable. The only work left to do is to remain faithful, to remain unwavering, to remain centered in the knowing that your assumption held long enough must become your experience. Feel the richness now, not tomorrow, not when you check your bank account, not when someone approves of you. Feel it now. Let it rise up from within your chest and spread like warm sunlight through every cell of your body. Let it inform your choices. Let it guide your words. Let it be the background music of your entire day. Because this feeling, this inner conviction is what magnetizes everything to you. The world does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. And you are now the embodiment of wealth. You don't need to see evidence to believe. You believe, and then you see the evidence. That's the reversal that changes everything. And now that you've made that shift, you're free. Free from doubt. Free from delay. free from the idea that something is missing. You have dropped every thought that told you it had to be hard, that it had to take years, that you had to earn it through pain. You've traded those lies for the truth. And the truth is simple: your inner world is the cause and your outer world is the effect. You are no longer the product of your past. You are now the expression of your inner conviction. You are what you repeatedly assume yourself to be. And now every assumption is carefully chosen, deliberately accepted, and lovingly nurtured. You assume wealth, and wealth takes form. You assume success, and success wraps itself around your life like a cloak. You assume ease, and life becomes light. Not because anything outside of you changed, but because you did. Now you walk through this world untouched by the noise. You see the news, the drama, the fear, and it passes right by you. Because you are not tuned into that station anymore. You're not vibrating at that frequency. You're not available for lack or fear or panic. You've chosen a different broadcast. One of peace, one of abundance, one of certainty. That is the channel you now live on. And the more you dwell there, the more natural it becomes. Until it is not just a practice. It is your permanent state. Others may ask what changed. They'll see the results but not the work. They'll see the money, the freedom, the confidence, but they won't know it. All began with a quiet decision to feel differently, to think differently, to live in the end. And you won't need to explain it. Your life will speak for itself. Your energy will say it all. You'll become the living proof that changing your mind changes your world. And when you stand in that truth long enough, others will feel the pull to rise with you. This millionaire mindset is not just about money. It's about identity. It's about sovereignty. It's about reclaiming your authorship over life itself. You're not reacting, you're creating. You're not pleading, you're declaring. And every declaration made in the feeling of truth becomes reality. This is not a temporary trick or a momentary shift. This is the unveiling of your true self. The self that always knew it was meant for more. The self that never questioned its worth. The self that always whispered, even in the darkest moments, "You are more than this." Now you have listened to that whisper. You have answered it. And in answering, you've awakened something that cannot sleep again. You've activated a knowing that cannot be unlearned. You are the source. You are the power. You are the switch. And that switch is no longer waiting to be flipped. It is on. The light is shining. The path is clear. And you are walking it now with the certainty of one who knows that nothing outside of them holds the key. The key has always been within. You move now as one who is done searching. You are no longer asking, "When will it happen?" Because you understand that it has already happened the moment you believed. You are no longer trying to convince yourself because conviction has already taken root. You are no longer tempted to look over your shoulder or compare your journey to someone else's. Comparison dies in the presence of identity. And you have found your true identity. Not in what you've earned, not in what you've achieved, but in what you've assumed yourself to be. You assumed yourself rich. And so you are. You see now that wealth is not the object, it is the natural extension of your state. You are not attracting it by begging for it, you are radiating it by being it. And just as a magnet cannot help but pull iron toward it, you cannot help but pull opportunities, resources, and divine encounters into your experience. This is no longer a mystery to you. It is not some spiritual riddle or cosmic lottery. It is law. It is structure. And it works because you are working it with belief instead of resistance. You've broken the trance that told you had to struggle. You've shattered the illusion that said abundance was for the lucky few. And now the only voice that matters is the one inside you, repeating again and again, "I am already what I seek." Not out of ego, but out of clarity. Not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Because now you understand that the dream was never something to chase. It was something to assume. The moment you assumed it, you merged with it. You fused yourself with the end. And in doing so, collapsed the weight. The delay vanished. The distance disappeared. And all that remained was the now. The now is rich. The now is full. The now is drenched in gold. You walk in it as a silent giant, knowing what others may still be trying to grasp. You don't need to speak it aloud. You don't need to broadcast your process. The results will do all the speaking. The reality around you will echo the vibration within you. The money will show up, but it won't define you. The lifestyle will evolve, but it won't distract you. Because now the material is merely an effect, not your goal. The goal was always to embody the version of you that already had it. And now you do. And in doing so, you've done something far more powerful than manifesting wealth. You've awakened the part of you that knows how to create at will. You've remembered who you truly are. The being that doesn't wait for the world to change, but commands the change by becoming the vibration of the outcome. The being that sees no difference between thought and reality, because it lives from the feeling, not the evidence. This is the millionaire mindset. Not because of the money it brings, but because of the power it returns to you. Now everything is different. Not because the outer world has suddenly shifted, but because you no longer interpret it through the lens of lack. You see opportunity where others see failure. You see gold in the soil of today. You no longer wait for conditions to improve to feel good. You feel good, and the conditions improve. You no longer try to survive the day. You command the day. You no longer ask for permission to rise. You rise because it is your nature. Even in moments of challenge, you remain unmoved. Not because you're denying reality, but because you know that the only reality that matters is the one you persist in. You felt yourself wealthy in the middle of an empty account. You've spoken abundance while walking through empty hallways. And in doing so, you have made yourself immune to temporary appearances. You are no longer seduced by what the five senses report. You are loyal only to the inner vision. And because of that loyalty, your world is responding in kind. Everything is aligning, not by your hand, but by your assumption. You don't need to orchestrate the how. You don't need to plot every step. The intelligence of your subconscious, combined with the creative force of your imagination, is now doing the work. All you must do is keep living in the end. Keep waking up in the state. Keep speaking the language of the fulfilled desire. Keep imagining from the goal, not toward it. You are no longer on your way. You are already there in consciousness. And consciousness is the only place creation begins. From here, everything flows. You'll find yourself at the right place at the right time, again and again. You'll overhear conversations that lead to breakthroughs. You'll get the call, the message, the sudden flash of insight. But none of it will surprise you, because the moment you accepted the millionaire mindset, you knew it would come, not with arrogance, but with certainty, not as a fluke, but as a function of law. The world must obey your assumption, it cannot do otherwise. And so you do not beg, you do not worry, you do not overanalyze, you remain, you dwell, you persist. That is the secret, that is the difference, that is the cause, and you have mastered it. You have stepped into the feeling and refused to let it go. You have held it in the silence of your mind and refused to be talked out of it. You have watered the seed daily with imagination, and now the tree is beginning to bloom. And it will not stop blooming, because this is who you are now, not sometimes, always. You have entered the land of certainty. You live now by knowing, not because someone told you, but because you remembered. And that remembrance has changed everything. You cannot go back. You cannot unsee. You cannot unfeel. You are the millionaire, not becoming, not hoping to be, but already. And from that place, life opens up in ways you could never have imagined before the switch was flipped. You don't walk with hesitation anymore. There's a new rhythm to your stride, a calmness in your presence, a groundedness in your being. You have stopped entertaining the old doubts because they no longer fit you. You've outgrown the thoughts that once made you question your future. The scarcity mindset that used to echo in your mind has gone silent, replaced by the quiet knowing that everything is already yours in consciousness. There is no effort in your faith. It flows naturally now, like breath. You are not trying to be wealthy, you are wealthy, and the trying has vanished with the illusion that you were ever lacking. Because you've assumed this wealth, you are no longer searching for signs. You've become the sign. You're no longer begging the universe to notice you. You've remembered that you are the universe noticing itself. You've stopped chasing manifestations because you've become the embodiment of them. And in your embodiment, you are drawing the forms effortlessly. The emails, the meetings, the deposits, the celebrations, they show up with the same ease as the breath you take. Not because you worked harder, but because you finally surrendered to who you already are. You understand now why nothing seemed to work before. It wasn't that the methods failed. It's that your identity was misaligned. You were trying to get something you hadn't yet become. You were hoping for results without embodying the end. But now there's no gap between who you are and what you desire. You've closed the distance. You no longer say I want, you say I am. You no longer think of wealth as coming. You feel it as done. And in that feeling everything is finished. What must happen will happen because your state has become the command. You are no longer reacting to life. You are giving life its instructions through the emotions you hold. And now everything feels different. Not because the world itself changed, but because you changed your place within it. You shifted your seat. You rose from the audience and took your place on the stage. You are no longer observing someone else's play. You are authoring your own. Every word you speak now carries the weight of a person who knows. Every choice you make is infused with the certainty of a person who remembers their power. Every second you live, you are magnetizing more of what matches this new version of you. You don't need applause, praise, or permission. You walk in the fulfillment of your inner reality. And that fulfillment becomes visible to all. You've realized that the outer world is just the shadow cast by your inner state. And now your inner world is bright with wealth. Your inner state is dripping with affluence. Your internal atmosphere is saturated with riches. There is no room for struggle in your consciousness anymore. There is no space for doubt. And so the shadows outside have shifted to reflect your light. You rise in the morning with the calm of knowing. You move through the day with the poise of prosperity. You sleep at night with the gratitude of a soul that remembers its source. You are not bound by the pace of others. You are not shaken by conditions. You are not tempted by appearances. Because you have touched something deeper than circumstance, you have touched the eternal. You have felt the truth that what you are inwardly must become what you live outwardly. So you continue, not in force but in flow, not in panic but in peace, not in reaction, but in rest. You hold the tone of your new identity, and that tone calls forth everything that matches its sound. You are no longer playing small. You are no longer dimming your light. You are no longer wondering if it's for you. It is for you. It was always for you. And now that you've said yes to it internally, the external world is rushing to reflect that yes in every detail of your life. You don't rush it. You don't obsess over timing, because timing is now irrelevant. You know the seed is planted, and that is enough. You walk as though the field is already full of harvest. You celebrate as though the results have already arrived. You smile in advance. You bless the day before it starts. You give thanks before the evidence appears. Because this is what one does when the millionaire mindset has been activated. This is what happens when the switch is on. You are not just imagining anymore. You are creating. You are not hoping anymore. You are knowing. You are not becoming anymore. You are being. And your being carries power. It speaks to the invisible world. It commands the formless to take form. It invites reality to rearrange itself in your favor. You no longer ask, how will it happen? That question has become obsolete. The only question that remains is, who am I now? And you already know the answer. You are the millionaire. You are the magnet. You are the creator. You are the source. And that truth is no longer an idea. It is your experience. It is the very air you breathe. It is the lens through which you see all things. And through this lens the world is bright. The world is generous. The world is responsive. Because you are bright. Because you are generous. Because you are aligned. And you stay there. You dwell there. You live there even if the world tries to tempt you with old images. You don't fall for it. You don't return to the old story. That story is finished. That version of you has no voice here. The moment you chose to believe in the unseen, the moment you dared to feel it real, that version lost all authority. And this new version, the true version, is now seated on the throne of your mind, ruling over the kingdom of your reality, with calm, confident, and sovereign grace. And so from this moment forward, let every breath you take affirm your abundance. Let every step you walk echo the truth, that you are already living in the wealth you once only imagined. The switch has been flipped, and it will not turn off. You no longer seek, you attract. You no longer beg. You command. You no longer wait. You embody. This is your millionaire life. Not someday, but today. Not through struggle, but through assumption. Not in theory, but in truth. Walk boldly now, knowing that the world must bend to the shape of your belief. The power is in you. It always was. And now, because you dared to feel it real, the world has no choice but to make it so.